I think what I found interesting is when you talk to founders and you do ask that question, you go like, what did you use the Wayflower money for? They don't necessarily have like pots of money where they go, okay, that Wayflower money is going to be set aside for this, and that money is going to be for this. It tends to just be that, they're seeing kind of a spike in demand, and they see their growth trajectory, and they see an opportunity. And because so much of your money is tied up in inventory when you're trying to grow an ecom brand, it can be hard to kind of execute on other initiatives or maybe launch new product ranges when you've got like 3 or 4 months of t-shirts sitting in your warehouse that are literally just like big bundles of cash waiting to be turned back into cash. So I think that's mainly what people use it for. Like it is really, I think the simplest way to put it, and like the most obvious one, is right. You've started a brand. The product has caught on very well. It's growing really fast. Like I can relate to back in the day. Like I didn't expect my little glasses business to get to that stage where we were selling in 80 countries or whatever. But when you're growing that fast and you're a relatively new company, you can't just walk into the bank and go, "Hey, Mr. Bankman, I'm doing really well. I think, judging by my ad performance, that if I scale this ad spend to blah blah blah, I'm going to be making like 5x. So can you please lend me, 8 times my current revenue or something?" Well, that's not going to happen in Wayflower either, but they just won't get it in the bank. And so when you're growing that fast, as good e-commerce brands tend to do, every inventory order is kind of significantly bigger than the last, especially if you want to expand into new markets or if you want to expand into new product categories. So, I think a lot of people have this misconception. It's like, oh, they need money, they must not be doing well. It's actually the exact opposite. Like you're doing so well that you can't possibly plow any more personal funds or business funds into the inventory that you need. So therefore you need to take in outside finance. And I think like with young and experienced founders like myself, that can sound a bit daunting. But as I've talked to like a lot of different customers around the world, this is something that all the larger brands need to do. You need to do it if you need to do it if you want to grow. But in terms of like a use case, like specific use case, I'll give some other ones rather than just like expanding into new product categories, launching new products. We also fund like wholesale brands, so food and beverage. So a lot of the times, what they might be doing now that there's an increase in inflation of the cost of goods, they will now be trying to buy much larger volumes of raw ingredients in order to maintain their profit margins and keep the costs of the raw ingredients low. So that's another use case that I've seen quite a lot since we started financing wholesale brands more and more.
And would you ever see brands looking at using the financing for marketing spend?
Yes, they definitely do, but it tends to, as I said before, it tends to not be like quite as specific as we're going to use that money for marketing and then we're going to use this money for that. If anything, I think that actually the money is more designated to the inventory and therefore frees up more of their own cash to start scaling their marketing. I think that would be probably a more common pattern.